Let's talk about the Vario Pilot 1918. So Vario sent me an email. He asked to see if I would be interested in taking a look at this watch. And I like Vario. I think that he makes very interesting watches. It's a very large array of options that he makes, and he does them in good quality. So, of course, by nature, I was interested to take a look. Now, this is not a new watch by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, there are many reviews that are already out there, but they're not me, so what was that? So anyway, when I got the watch, it definitely gave me a funky chicken feel. Where was I? So when I first got the watch, I definitely was taken back by how it was what I like to consider a funky chicken, right? I think that there are typical designs that we have in our collection when it comes to dress watches and everything else. But then there's these watches that come along where they're kind of like a funky chicken. Sometimes it's the orientation of the dial. Sometimes it's the design of the case. It could be really anything outside the natural scope of what we're normally used to. But it's nice to eventually get to the point where you want a funky chicken in your collection, right? You want something that is a little bit outside of what you're normally going to see. And that happens usually when you're at a certain point in your collection, because I think everybody starts off with more of the typical things. I personally like to collect in the beginning more iconic watches. I felt like they were safer. I felt like if more enthusiasts were purchasing a particular watch, it was probably a watch of quality and it was probably a watch of substance. So therefore, I felt more comfortable purchasing said watch. However, as you mature in your collection, and I've been collecting for about 5 years now, you want to start building your own identity in your collection, and you start venturing off to things that pique your interest, whether or not it's more popular or not. Now, this watch for sure took me back to World War I, and that's the whole point of the design. It was supposed to reenact the watches in World War I. And just so you guys know what was going on at that time, so around that time in World War I, watches on the wrist weren't really a thing. In fact, if you were invited to a social gathering, right? Those gentlemen gatherings where everybody's all nicely dressed up. You have a nice pocket watch either in your pocket or in one of those, one of those pockets. If you had a watch on your wrist, and it wasn't very common for men to have watches on wrist, it was actually more common for women to wear watches on their wrist. But if you were a gentleman at set party and you had a watch on your wrist, it was considered to be actually rude. It was perceived to be that you didn't really want to be there. You were anxious to leave right away. You didn't really want to spend quality time and actually be there for that event. So after World War I, where pocket watches now were a necessity to wear on the wrist, wired lugs were attached to them, and men started putting them on the wrist because of the necessity of needing to either coordinate attacks or whatever it may be. Timing was very important when it came to wars. And so the pocket watch then, because there were no wrist watches at the time, were fastened with wired lugs, and then of course been able to strap to the wrist, which is why you get these wired lugs that Vario had placed on the watch itself. And the orientation of the dial is meant to serve a purpose of being easy to read when you have your hands either on a throttle, if you're a pilot, right? This is a pilot watch. If you're flying that plane, in the orientation of your wrist being on that control, you could then read the time very easily. So at your orientation to looking at the watch, that 12 o'clock would be perfectly aligned at that point. I often state about how designs of a watch overall is the first thing that hits you. So let's close our eyes and imagine if we were at an actual watch show, right? And you saw this watch on the table. Now, this is a stopper, okay, of you walking by and moving on to the next lemonade stand. I think that if you saw this watch on the table, you definitely would be pulled in. Come to find out, of course, there's specifications on here that Vario did very good as an overall thing. I think that the finishing on the side of the case, you have a brushed and you have a polished combination to that bezel. And then I like how the bezel kind of looked like it's folded into the side of the case. But the way that the bezel folds into that brushed side of the case is really, really cool. The finishing is done very well And that's something that I expect from Vario at this point, right? So the design factor pulls you in. Then, of course, you want to know what the movement is. And I believe this is the Miyota YN33. So it's a hand-wound movement. And that, again, alludes back to that time where World War One, the watches, the pocket watches, if you will, were all hand-wound. That would make it correct to the period of time that it's trying to reenact, right? So we often talk about how there's homages and clomages, even though this is trying very hard to reenact a watch that already existed. Those obviously are not being in production, and they're hard to get, and they're probably more expensive. Therefore, I feel like this is more of a homage. It's more of a nod to the World War One design watches. Another thing that I liked that Vario added to the watch was the see-through case back. It's a movement that's not heavily decorated. However, it is nice to see that movement regardless, and it is a sapphire crystal, which effectively makes the watch a sapphire sandwich, because on the top dome crystal, it also is sapphire with AR coating. The watch is significantly thin overall. Wearing it on the wrist has a thinner profile. Now, when you purchase the watch, it comes more so in a bun style strap. Now, I've removed this piece of material because I feel like having the watch closer, having metal on skin, just the thinness of the watch overall, and I don't minus the crystal. Even with that domed crystal, I love how close to the wrist it sits. It actually looks like a pocket watch overall in design, but it has a very slim feel onto the wrist, which if you actually had a pocket watch on your wrist, it would be much thicker. Of course, there was less significance in having a thinner movement at that point in time. As manufacturing and technology has gotten better, movements have gotten thinner, and that's been the thing, and more accurate, of course, along with gems, jewels, shock resistance, and better oils altogether. The synthetic oils just last longer, right? So the idea is for you to have something within that realm, but to have a better version of it. A lot of the times I've talked about on my live streams, especially, how vintage inspired watches have a very big advantage being technologically more advanced, and therefore you're not having to worry if that watch is going to fail you, how the service history has been on it. And so a watch of this caliber really captivates and interests me off the bat. And I think that is a common, I'm not the only one that's out there. I think there's a lot of people that share that sentiment and therefore value a watch like this that's being produced by Vario. The dial is pretty much like the home base for the design. It's really like the centerpiece to all watches. And what Vario has chosen here is enamel. Now, what that effectively does is it gives it almost like a wet look. All of the colors, no matter what color you end up choosing for an enamel dial, seems to be richer, even on the black. It makes the colors pop more. It makes indices like the ones on here that are white have more of a contrast. It definitely doesn't give it any of a flat feel to the color at all, and I like that. I don't technically own an enamel dial just yet. I think another good comparison to an enamel dial would be a porcelain dial. It's probably more expensive, but you get what I'm saying. It definitely makes any color that you have with it a lot richer and a lot more interesting, if you will, altogether. And I think the combination to the white indices, specifically on this black version dial, makes things pop. And obviously the indices are very easy to read, because if you're talking about a pilot's watch, then the legibility has to be ridiculously easy. It has to be an easy read, right? Tying into that orientation of the dial and everything else. Now the hands. I have a weakness for the hands. I have a weakness for cathedral hands. I don't know if anybody else is out there that shares the same thing about having cathedral hands. I think that kind of like a gothic style, not really gothic, but kind of like a cathedral type of feel. But I think that out of all the designs, whether you're putting them on, let's say, a dress watch, a diver, or a pilot watch, I think that, and there's different variations that you can do it, right? I've seen some wider, I've seen some thinner, but at the end of the day, the cathedral hands and the sector hands to the minute hand, the fact that the minute hand reaches all the way out to the dial, again, alluding back to that legibility, you have the railroad track for the minutes. So you can essentially put this on the minute perfectly. Now, you can't do it down to the second because you don't have hacking, but speaking of the second hand reaches all the way out to the end of the railroad track minutes. And I love that it has a center focus on that second hand as well. It's red tipped. The minute hand is more of like a syringe shape it's sectored off, fantastic. I think that altogether that ties in and it makes it look very nice. It does make it look very vintage, and it is very legible. So all things considered, I really like the whole design factor to the dial itself. I'm okay with the movement because you could look at the movement like this, right? It's technically correct. At that time, there was no hacking for the movement. Yes. So I think it was intentional for Vario to choose that YN33 movement, hand wind only. By the way, the interaction with the crown, fantastic. It's onion shaped, it's signed, it's polished. Sometimes with polishing, I do worry, but the knurling on this watch has been done very well. I don't have any issues with the keyless work interaction for this watch, and that is something that I like to emphasize because I think it's a little lost on people when they do reviews of watches. I think crown size matters, and especially when you're talking about a mechanical or an automatic watch, whatever you have to wind, whatever does get set down and you have to reset and you have to often do that, yeah, crown size matters. Now, fixed lugs is what this watch received. Now, here's the deal about that. It comes with the bun strap. And now let's not forget, Vario started off as a strap company. Yes? So it was in my suspicion that he had other straps for fixed lugs, because that really wouldn't make sense if the bun strap, or let's say a natal strap, was the only option. And I'll tell you guys this. I think this has been my biggest experience with this watch since I've had it. I didn't connect with the bun strap, and I actually put it on a natal strap and I didn't connect to that either. To be honest, what I connect to the most was when I removed the middle material to the actual bun strap. Now, that's not to say that the Vario bun strap wasn't comfortable. It's not to say that the design is bad. I actually do like bun straps. I actually have them on multiple watches. But on this one specifically, liking the thinness of the overall case size, having it closer to the wrist, actually felt like it emphasized the watch a lot more. And I actually attached to the watch a lot more when I had it in that kind of way. So it would be my recommendation, if this is on your sites and in your target to put into your collection, definitely go with those clip-on straps that Vario has available, or get the bun strap, because it's kind of like the best of two worlds. The only difference is if you go with the bun strap instead of just a clip-on, you're going to have the metal clips that actually keep the lugs wrapped around, versus the clip-on where you're not going to have that. But to be honest, I really like the way that looks with that screw. It kind of goes with the design and it pulls everything together. And again, you're getting the additional advantage of having kind of two straps in one at that point. So that would be my recommendation if you are interested and you wanted to pull the trigger. I think the price point is phenomenal. I think the price point is at a very good rate for what you're getting. Is very unique. It's not something you commonly see. Everything specification-wise, like everything by the book on paper with Vario, is always on point. But then he also introduces something else that's interesting no matter what kind of watch we're talking about. We could be talking about his reversa. We could be talking about his single hand. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I think that no matter what the actual collection is, there's still going to be some time that you want to spend with it, especially if you're at a show and you see the watches on the table. I definitely recommend spending some time and really taking a deeper look into all the watches he has available. On the bun strap as well, let me not forget that you are getting a signed buckle on there as well. It is brushed because he knows what he's doing. Starting off with straps, like I said before, he knows what he's doing at this point. And the quality of leather that you're receiving on these bun straps are fantastic. They are a thick material, but they're still very supple. There's almost no break-in period. It does get softer over time. So all in all, I would definitely consider this a pass. I would definitely consider this if you're looking for something that is a little different. And then also, important nod to history, in my opinion, right? World War I and the necessity to changing pocket watches into wrist watches, making it a norm, right? Even after that war, now men wearing watches on their wrist became a normal thing. So I think it's really cool to put something like this into your collection if you don't want to go after the real thing, or even if you do and you just want a different rendition to it. Now, I almost forgot. The lume is abysmal. I don't even really have to test this. I'll probably show you guys a lume shot of this, but I can tell you this. I've worn this watch out in a very sunny day, as you can see. Does it not fire up? It does. Is it going to last through the night? It's not. It's just going to get the job done enough for maybe when you're passing through something dark really quickly, or if you're in a low light setting temporarily. It's definitely not something super reliable. But my question is this: is that also leaning into the vintage aspect or the vintage inspired aspect? Because at this point in time, if you purchased a watch that was actually from World War One, the lume would also be abysmal. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to know. Listen, I'm not going through every waking detail on these reviews anymore because I'm going to give you guys very close-up shots of it, and I think that you guys are going to be able to determine things about the finishing or the design close-up from there. I do put the specifications in the very beginning of the video. That's kind of like how I'm changing things around. This way it just makes it a little bit easier than just rambling it off, if you will. However, I will let you guys know that throughout this video, when I gave you guys wrist shots, for reference, my wrist size is a 7¼ inch wrist, and I do like the watch. It is something that I would put in my collection if I'm being honest here. So I want to know what you guys think. Is it something that you would add to your collection? Is it something that you gravitate to, connect to? And do you think it's interesting enough? I appreciate you guys for spending your most valuable asset, which is time, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Let's talk about the Vario